Hi, this is Postman and welcome to another of my track walkthroughs. This time I'm gonna walk you through my track called Love, Death and Glitch. It was featured on my Kovacs EP on Billegal Beats. I'm actually going to do a series of walkthrough for the whole EP, so stay tuned for more. The track Love, Death and Glitch, the title was somewhat inspired by, of course, the series Love, Death and Robots. Was a Netflix series, collection of short movies, all with themes of love, death and robots. Not all featured robots, but most had a fantasy slash sci-fi feel and even definitely a cyberpunk feel to it. And that also quite suited the mood of the album, which is quite cyberpunky as it's inspired by the Altered Carbon series. There are quite some romantic moments, maybe you can call it, in Altered Carbon series, like the relationship between Kovacs and Chris Falconer and Kristen Ortega on the other hand. But there's also love from a different perspective, like the AI Poe is also getting a relationship, somewhat of a relationship with the archaeology AI called Dick 301. And the glitch part of the title is also referencing to the glitching of the AI Poe in the second season. Let's take a look at the track. So the track is really more ambient, sparse. It focuses on long drones and pedal notes. It has gone through quite some iterations. It was actually meant to be a track on my LP that I'm going to be self-releasing later this year, but didn't quite fit the bill. I already had a similar track for the LP, so I felt it could fit elsewhere, and it kind of fitted in the Kovacs EP. The track is also quite minimal, like you can see from the overview. There's not that many elements. Makes it cool. The difficult thing with minimal is that if you do something wrong, because it's not that busy, every mistake, if you want to call that, is gonna stand out. So being minimal with tracks is really an exercise in balancing stuff. So like you can see, normal stuff going on, sidechain, not going on that much, only when the kick slash impact hits. Drum bus, tonal bus, and FX bus. Take a look at the drums. So there's not that many really that many real drums like in a conventional electronic music track. More textury. The kick is actually more of an impact. It's going through another ambient machine, so Ableton Live Rack with a resonator coupled to some kind of splashy reverb. It's not that tonal because the tonality is only set to 18%, making like kind of a G sharp chord, and there's not that many reverb. The reverb is not that wet, but it really makes an effect. Really bursts into a really quite spacious bang. If I turn it off, you really can hear there's some resonation going on, not that much. Okay, the other drums, if you want to call that, are actually all loops. All loops, I stretched it out, put an OTT through it. There's even a vocoder going on. Some are being spectrally processed, others just stretched the hell out of them, and so on and so on. Yeah. So they're not really adding much rhythm to the track, but more act as extra layers of texture. Maybe important thing to talk about is some loops are granularly processed, other more spectrally. Main difference, I think, in my opinion, between granular synthesis and spectral processing is that granular synthesis is actually time-based. So you're working with really tiny amounts of sounds, really short, playing them consecutively or looping them around. And spectral processing is really working with or processing tons of little small frequency bands and affect them differently. Actually, a vocoder kind of is a spectral processor if you want. So like you can see in the spec ops from unfiltered audio, there's like, you can see the FFT size, so that's the fast Fourier transformer size. That's some heavy math involved in that. I'm not going to through that. But here you can see the size is 1024, which means there are actually 1024 bands, individual bands. That's like really crazy. Actually, the description says it's actually the number of sample used for frequency analysis. Okay, so it's something different, and anyhow, there is like a ton of bands going on, which makes it like a washed out spectrally, gives it a spectrally sound to it. Okay, let's go through the tonal stuff. Main thing in the intro is actually another impact going through the ambient machine, this time with more tonality, with a clearer tonal center. It's making a G sharp chord. I think it's a G sharp sus4 chord. Correct me if I'm mistaken. What else? And of course, this is giant ass drone. I think I resampled it. It was a really kind of textury atmosphere sample. I think I'll let it through a resonator and resampled it. I'm not sure, but the sample on its own already had that harmonic quality to it. It already had that G sharp sus4 chord sound to it. Okay, it's being EQ'd, probably controlling the mids and the subs. Yes. Okay, and there's this thing here. Those are bells. Track. I think it's done. Show me. Yeah, it's done with collision. So it's physical modeling synth. It's actually just a preset I probably modified. Okay, that's that, I guess. Later in the song there's a mid section with strings going on. So the strings section is actually twofold. So there's a synthetic layer on it. It's actually of a preset bank called Coda by ADSR Sounds. What it actually is a really cool blend between organic orchestral sounds and synthetic ones. So it's done as serum, so actually some orchestral samples are added into the noise oscillator, which can act as a sampler, and then some tonal qualities are added with the digital oscillators and effects. Really cool. And there underneath it, there's a like a general yeah, orchestral sampler. So just patches of strings playing together, and together to combine to something not 100% organic and not 100% synthetic, which I think helps it blend into the more digital kind of feel, or at least inorganic kind of feel of the track. I think if I would have just added the organic strings, they would have not really blended that well with the rest, and adding a synthetic element helped hybridizing and making them more compatible in this track. Okay, then also in later section there's the same chord progression going through the Buchla easel emulation from Arturia, I guess. Yeah, I had it in demo and then I fiddled with it and it kind of fitted the bill, but I don't have it anymore, or at least have it licensed anymore, so I resampled that. It's quite a cool thing. Makes a really weirdest sounds ever, but here it's quite tame. I think going through quite some reverbs and effect and whatnot. Probably resampled because it to save my CPU also. Then there's the bass section. There's not much to say about the bass section. Actually, they're just all neuro Reese's, all samples going through a low pass, which helps taming down the high frequencies and adding again more texture underneath the whole mix, adding some movement also. And then in the bridge there's this kind of Reese. Would have loved you to show the patch, but it was really complicated and convoluted even, and quite some CPU draining. So I resampled that. I think Faceplan is a cool plugin, but you can really go complex with it, maybe too complex, I feel, in my personal experience and opinion. It's better to work with things that they are not too complicated but versatile, that aren't that convoluted, so you don't get too lost in it. Faceplan is like really the Valhalla for sound designers and resampling nerds, but I got it and it's cool, but it's not my go-to synth, to be honest. And then there's some effects going on, nothing too special, just adding texture or helping with transitions. I think we covered it all. Yeah, like I told you, it's kind of not that crazy project file, so it was a short video. I hope you liked it, hope you learned something from it. Got any questions, please comment. If you like the video, leave a like, subscribe and whatnot. See you guys next time.